So folks, we're walking, we're looking for the entry here at McKinley Hill to the American Cemetery and Memorial. And so we're just walking the street, and there's this really beautiful view that I just videoed here across a nice area there, and it's got all kinds of like nice landscaping. So it's got signs there telling you how to take nice pictures right there. It's actually got signs there telling you instructions how to take the best shots of some shadow boxes and things they have right there. And a security guard comes up and tells me I can't take pictures there, harassing me and saying I'm taking pictures of the embassy, and there's not even signs there for an embassy. Turns out there is an embassy, but it has not one single marking, and he's saying photos are not allowed there. And I told him, turn around and look behind you, and right behind him on a metal pole is full instructions put there by the city about taking pictures there and how to get the best shots. Unbelievable. So I want to show the stark contrast between two worlds. So you see all these beautiful buildings here, right? You see all of them. And now let me just pan the camera down. Two worlds meet right there that close. The Mel just now pointed something out to me that we think is pretty cool. It doesn't matter where you live and what economic situation you're in or anything. There's ways to grow a small urban garden. Now you see this little hollow block concrete jungle here.
They always said you know, you can plant a garden without land.
Even without land?
Even you never own the land.
Yeah, that's right. So I just want to show you here, and I'm not trying to expose the hardships of people because we understand these people right here. We do. You see all this life here, these balconies, all that. They're pretty limited what they can do. But I want you to look at this guy. On top of his place, he's got him a ladder over here to one side. Let me see if I can see it there. Yeah, see it right there. There's the ladder. And he's growing all kinds of vegetables and beans and things in pots. He's got a trellis set up all on top of his roof. He's got looks like old sign tarpaulins wrapped around wood on top of blocks to give it like water protection underneath the pots. And look at that, man. He's got him a whole urban garden. Sorry there. He's got a whole urban garden right there, and it all looks good. So no matter what his situation is, he's being smart. All right, so here we are. We're still down here in BGC. We're walking the streets. We could have took a taxi, but we chose not to. Mel and I,
to walk and exercise.
That's right. We love to walk. Right behind Mel that you see right there is that. In that whole area is the American Memorial, somewhere back in there, cemetery. And that is the cemetery from our fallen soldiers from World War II that was put right here. And we want to go see that. I've never seen it. 14 years and I've never seen it.
Yeah, I never know also.
So what we're doing is we've been walking pretty much most of the outer perimeter. And our luck is, I guess we'll find the entrance at the very end.
Yes.
We must have should have started actually, from the other direction.
So it's supposed to be very close here.
But we'll find it. It's all right. We love to walk. This is what Mel and I do when we get out, isn't it? We start walking. We told that lady yesterday that we got that condo rented from. She said, oh, you can just take a taxi over and go to this and that. And I'm like, no, we walk. We love to walk. We will put miles and miles on. So anyway, we know we're getting close. We're starting to see the landscaping, so we'll keep on exploring here. Guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something that as a Texas farm boy, you may not understand. So I'm gonna explain this. I love skyrise buildings. I love big old condos. Yep, I sure do. Isn't that odd for a Texas farm boy to like those, to say he loves them? But let me explain to you why. These big buildings, now on every floor there, on every floor of that, if that's 50 stories, whatever, on 37, I don't know what they are, I'm just guessing numbers here. But if you took that building right there and sliced every floor off and set them out and spread them side by side, and then if you took each one of those individual housing units on each floor and spread that out, and then put each one of those on a half acre, quarter acre, or even an acre or 5 acres, can you imagine how much of the earth's land would be consumed with housing if it wasn't for places like this? Could you imagine? Now you think about city after city after city all over this world and country, that if every individual tried to have a little plot of land, it's impossible. It would just, it would be a train wreck. And then each one of them individually try to manage all of their own pollution, you know, wastewater, all. It's just, it's impossible. It's too much. So these centers like this, they're important, believe it or not, they are important. Just take what I told you, spread it out, imagine it, and you'll understand why a farmer like me appreciates these big buildings, these housing units, because it saves land for us to live on and farm and grow crops. Mel and I, we've been to places, we've been to countries that are practically nothing but condo units, apartment units like that. And there's a reason why. The government kind of enforces it that way. They make it super expensive for an individual to have a separated home, because they're trying to save any farmland, any natural resources. They're trying to protect what they have to grow crops, to live on, nature. And Hong Kong is an example of that. Hong Kong is one of those places. So even though a lot of you viewing and y'all are homesteaders and all, be blessed at what you have. Be very, very blessed, because some countries don't allow that. Or let's take, like there in Hong Kong, and let's also take Japan. Yeah, you can have individual homes, you can have individual housing, but most of that is farmers, and they grow in a very minimalistic spot on their property to not infringe on any other farming area or their whatever type of they're doing. If they're raising fish, whatever they're doing, koi, different types of plants they grow with aquaponics and all, they minimize their living area. And they're being smarter. They're being way smarter. If I knew now what I knew years ago, I would have been living my life a whole lot different my entire life. But I see in places like there in the Philippines right now, I know we're building a place along by the water, but I'm seeing them spread out big subdivisions. They're trying to mock the Western world, and they're spreading out, and they're building it over top of their farmland, just like we are in the West. We take the most beautiful, most fertile soil, and we plant houses on it, subdivisions. We lose that land. But the arid land, the land that would have been great to develop away from where it's easy to grow crops, that you're going to be putting sprinkler systems in anyway, you're going to be putting landscaping in anyway, those could have been built over on that type of land. And I'll give you an example. That's Dallas-Fort Worth. All the expansion of DFW is taking place towards the green side, the farming side, Farmersville, out towards us, Terrell, Rockwall, Princeton Island, Plano, all of that. How that even become settled in the beginning was because that was farmlands, that was fertile growing crop land. And Dallas was settled along that Trinity River basin in there, to where that land was so fertile from thousands and millions of years of water flowing and depositing minerals there that made it so fertile. And it began as a little farm town there. And now look at it. All that wonderful farmland is buried underneath houses and concrete. But now let's move over towards Fort Worth. Over there it gets a little bit more dry and rocky and hard to grow crops. And what have they done? Nothing hardly there. Over out that way, going west, where it would be better to put in your huge housing communities and protect your farmland. No, because it's so pretty on that beautiful farmland. Let's cover it up with concrete and houses and asphalt shingles. Man, I tell you what, we've got to get our heads together. For our selfishness, we are creating our own demise. Just listen to me on that. A complex of buildings here. Now, imagine if all these units were spread out, for each person had their own individual house. And then also think about this. What I'm going to show you here houses more people than the entire town that I grew up in, spread out over thousands of acres, including apartment buildings in my town and all. This one complex houses more people than my entire town. Let me show you. So there's a point that I'm working towards on this, as I was telling Mel here, and that is, there's people out there, like we have a subscriber named Billy Joe, and he is working towards this project they're calling the Wickershire Project, and I like it. I like his concept. I like his idea. I wish him the best in the world for it, actually. I really do. They have this whole idea of kind of like a, what do you call that? Agrarian society, where everyone pulls together and helps each other, and they grow food and they produce, and everybody can live, you know, like in harmony. It sounds like a compound, you know, you build a compound, everybody pitches in towards a common goal, and that sounds great. Unfortunately, our government tried to mark anything like that as a negative light, and they don't want that system. They want the system of buy, build. They want that because that's what the banks want, and bottom line, the financiers in the world is what controls the world. So what Billy's trying to make, the government's going to put out propaganda, and they have for years, to say that is bad. Those are crazy people. Don't do that. Those are crazy people. Those are hippies. Those there's something wrong with them. They're strange. They're different. But actually, what Billy is working towards with their project is really a good thing. It really is. It's a very promising thing. Imagine if all these people here, say if they own several thousand acres of land around right here, that they would have all been living on spread out, and if they had huge community gardens, say that one building right over there, let's just say that they had a huge plot of land around it, and everybody took turns going out there. You have your time, let's say a different group of 30 or 40 people each week or something go out, and it's your turn to put in your time on the crops. You could grow your own foods. You could have your own wastewater systems, recycling systems and all. And you could put together a pretty neat society in a way like they're wanting to do, say like on a Mars colony, right? But we are too complacent here. We just want to think of me, 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 me. And we have a hard time getting along. And you get into these other countries though, you find more of that. And I wish that we could get along better in the US, and I wish our government wouldn't mark anyone that tries something different as a bad guy. But that's all wishes. We can't change that in the world. All I can do is give my opinion. It's not so simple. It's not. And people are hard to get along with each other. To put a large group of people together like that, it would require kind of a micro government. Within there, they would still have to be like a city within themselves. They would have to have laws and rules and organization. You couldn't just have a simple HOA. It would literally have to be a micro government. And at the time, I know all of that is a pipe dream. I'm not saying what Billy's doing is a pipe dream. On a small scale, they can probably do it on a small scale. But for right now, it makes me appreciate these places. Because believe it or not, it really does help. It really does help. So we are here at the Manila American Cemetery Memorial. So we're gonna move on to this.